Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So what do we do? 3, 2, 1, my juicy little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Yes, they are, aren't they? My delicious little babies. Now then, I hope that wherever you are in the world, that life is treating you most deliciously. Now then, it's the afternoon, 20 past 12 in our old England, my delicious little babies. The sky is, let's just say, more or less fully covered with not so very nice white and grey clouds. Tiny, tiny, tiny bit of blue sky. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, yeah, yesterday I had lots of different conversations with, different mankind. Okay, my delicious little babies, yeah. And of course, you got somebody who's moving in down the road. Well, we're seeing a lot of this, my delicious little babies, okay? In, let's just say, recent years, okay, my delicious little babies. And yeah, it seems that because from where I live, there's a place called, it's down the road, I know where it is. And it's called Aston, okay, my delicious little babies. Now, I'm noticing a pattern that there seems to be, families who are wanting to move out of Aston. So I don't know what's going on here to do with Aston, my delicious little babies, okay? Because you've got, not far from there, you've got, Aston Villa football ground, okay, my delicious little babies. But you see, they're moving out. Number one, because I suppose they're not alike in the area anymore, okay? But then they're sort of moving, there's quite a few families who are moving on to our road. Okay, my delicious little babies. And there's different reasons why, isn't there? But the thing is that, if you get too many families, I always remembered a dear lady, bless her, and what she said to me. She said, what happens is you get too many families, all moving into one place, okay? She said, they end up, let's just say, I suppose, getting on each other's nerves, chatting about each other, chatty, you know what I mean, my delicious little babies. And not everybody wants that, so they wanted to move out and then move somewhere totally different where it's nice and peaceful and quiet, okay, my delicious little babies. But yes, noticing quite a lot of it. Okay, my delicious little babies. I did say to the woman there, I did say, you want to shake her hands, you know what I mean? She thought my hands are too small or something. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was really odd. My delicious little babies. So I said, is it because I'm English? So that's not me being racist or prejudiced, my delicious little babies. I was just done. There we are, asking the woman a question. Okay, simple things. Do you see? Okay. And she said no. And because I did say to her, I says, my beautiful, I love her so, my beautiful little mama bear, from what I was told. That she was half Bangladeshi and half Irish, my delicious little babies, she said to me. And so I'm not racist, prejudiced at all, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm not. But I just thought it was very odd. Okay. So when somebody moves onto the road, so anyway, I was still polite. I said, so, I hope you're moving, and everything else, all that jazz. Okay, my delicious little babies. But that's what I'm talking about, you see. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? And I'm hoping that you're following what I'm saying to you, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So one's wanting to move on the road, and not everybody is wanting to, shall we say, what's the word that we'd use? Integrate with others. It's like if they know somebody, I could clearly see that they knew another family. Okay, my delicious little babies, but that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so I do not feel that I'm wrong in what I've said. Okay, but nevertheless, I hope that they settle into the road, and I hope that that they have an enjoyable stay, my delicious little babies. But at the same time, I always believe it's good to know, there we are, not the ins and outs, but to know your neighbours. There we are, my delicious little babies, because if you go back decades ago, if my beautiful, hi, love, my beautiful little nanny and granddad, okay? I've already said good morning anyway to all my beautiful, dear little family, okay? And our little babies, who we call our sons and daughters. Well, if my beautiful, dear little nana and granddad was here now, they'd be done telling you that, at one time you used to know everybody. Everybody used to know everybody. You could leave your door open, you know what I mean? They say, oh, hi, yeah, do you know what I mean? And, pop in, knock the door and, and pop in. Do you see what I mean? But there's none of that. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Okay? So much has changed. There we are. It's unreal. But when somebody doesn't want to shake your hand and they say that their hands are too small, I say, well, my hands are, larger. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? I just thought that's not a very nice, that's just for myself. It's like if I was moving in here, say, for example, and somebody said, oh, my name's, which they did actually, okay, my delicious little babies, and, one of my beautiful dear little friends, who used to live here, do you know what I mean, okay? Well, they shake hands, so that you can introduce yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? But when you're moving into a road now, you can see why. And then you've also got to look at, I'm only explaining what I've been seeing. So what's been happening is others have been moving out of the road. There we are, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying, okay? They will probably not tell you probably the real reason why. Well, I mean, there's many reasons why ones move, you know what I mean? But the only thing that I was told by some families, they just said there's been many changes on the road. And some of these families were here for 30 years. You see what I mean? My delicious little baby. So it's very clear to myself that something is a bit wrong. There we are. Shoulders gone up there. Do you see what I mean? Okay. Sorry, excuse me. So I just thought I'd mention it. Anyway, my delicious little baby. So I've got rather a lot today. Okay. So I'm going to do my best to speed through this, super duper quickly, my delicious little babies. Okay. So I'm not sure who would be able to even listen to my videos, my delicious little babies. So let's go on to this one first. So this one here, I think this is about, 26 minutes long or something, my delicious little babies, okay? They're all on YouTube. This uploader happens to have 2.42 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies. Now, this is all in capitals and it's all together. So it's all the words jammed together, my delicious little babies. Beholden to truth. All in capitals, my delicious little babies. All the words jammed together. Beholden to truth. Ken O'Keefe. When did you find about the JQ? When did you find about the JQ? Now, I thought it should have said, when did you find out, I think, about the JQ? But anyway, but that's exactly as I read it. Okay, my delicious little babies. Yeah, and Ken O'Keefe, I've mentioned Ken before. It doesn't mean no, my delicious little baby's just got an itch. And yeah, he just explains in a very short space of time. He's actually, there we are, very good. He's Ken O'Keefe, okay? And he's having an interview with somebody else, my delicious little babies. But well worth a listen should anybody have any form of an interest, okay? Now, where do I need to go? Now, this one here, my delicious little babies, this uploader is now up to 9.77 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies. And in the old space bar, in old YouTube, my delicious little babies, once again, with any of these, should anybody have any form of an interest, Shahid, spelled SHAHRD, space, capital K, King, and that's a capital S, and then space, Bolsen, capital BOLSEN. Okay, my delicious little babies, yeah. He's done his latest video. Now, I enjoy, and with anybody not in that way, I enjoy listening to Shahid Bolsen, my delicious little babies, okay? And why do I enjoy listening to his videos? There we are, because the man talks damn well. There we are, common sense. Okay, my delicious little baby. So I enjoy listening to his videos also. Okay, so please, his latest video is, it's all to do with Siege. Okay, and what is it, about 30 odd minutes long? My delicious little babies. Okay, yeah, and he explains how how everybody's got to where they are at the moment. But what he was talking about, bless him, bless Shahid, is only what I've been talking about. There we are, for years. Because really, we need to stick together in our roads, in our areas. Okay, my delicious little babies in England and all over the world. We need to stick together. You know what I mean? And what he's talking about is ones to help each other. Do you know what I mean? So it could be bags of rice, it could be bags of flour, it could be. It's a really interesting latest video that he's talking about, my delicious little babies. And I totally agree. It's like for myself, sometimes I make soups, for my beautiful dear little elderly, neighbours in my road, and I do not charge a penny, my delicious little babies. You know what I mean? It's what I just feel, being that we are good spirited. Do you see what I mean? Okay, my delicious little babies. But of course, I was brought up that way. There we are, to not be mean. Okay. But what Shahid explains is that, because of what they've done, in born in the USA, okay, to their own, okay, and not only that, it's having a knock-on effects. There we are, all over the flipping world, man. Do you see what I mean? Mad little babies. Anyway, so that's that. Now, this is a new one who's popped up on my feed. And as like I said, I mean, this would probably be a one-off, but nevertheless, very interesting, because like I say, some of the videos that I advertise are one-offs, okay? And this uploader happens to have 543 subscribers, my delicious little babies, okay? And in the old space bar, capital K for Kevin, space, capital B for Bennett, Bennett, and then in brackets, capital K, Kevin, space, capital B, Benaire, okay, Benare, Benaire, okay, my delicious little babies. And as simply says, it's just over 9 minutes long. UK, sorry, stumbling here. Do you know what I mean with what's going on? UK digital RD. Yes, and of course, again, so we got, this is rocking all over the YouTube, my delicious little babies, and on different platforms, okay, at what's going on to do with this poxy flipping digital RD, okay. So he just explains in a very short space of time, like thousands of others, okay? Bless everybody, and bless this dear man as well, and anybody else, okay? Whether they're dear men or dear women, okay? That, and what he's basically said as well is that ones are, they've got to stop being lazy. There we are. My delicious little babies. Well, I know it sounds like it is the harsh truth, but there we are. But it is, they've made it where there's families, they're just too busy, they've got to always working, always doing everything, okay, my delicious babies, and this is what they're doing, okay? But you've got others where in the spare time, so this is not myself being nasty now, my delicious babies, but in the spare time, they could be researching, usually with, Google, it's usually buried a lot, okay, my delicious little babies, with information and everything, okay, because they only put up what they want to put up, okay. So you can go on to alternative different search engines, do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay. But ones, very sadly, I'm not going to say it about everybody, no, but they're just not doing it. So I got there straight away what your man was saying. Do you see what I mean, okay? And like he said, it's about doing, one's own research, my delicious little babies, and which I totally agree with. And he said because he cannot just give all of the information out, which I totally understand that, do you know what I mean? Because, how can I put it? It's only a figure of speech, but if you're putting everything on a plate, Okay, my delicious babies. Okay, if you're talking to say your friends, close friends, or family or something, okay, that's a different matter. Okay, my delicious babies. So, in that respect, yes, you know, you can give out all information. That doesn't mean just got an itch again. But you know, I can see why, you know, he just gives out certain, you know, it's quite obvious to myself watching his short video. Bless him and bless everybody, all uploaders. Okay, my delicious babies. So well worth a listen to this dear man as well, my delicious babies. Now then, the next one. Now this is very important, my delicious babies. They're all important, okay. But this one here is with Sandy Adams, bless her, okay? And this is in the old space by my delicious little babies, capital UK space, capital C column, space, capital N news. I do advertise them rather regularly, my delicious little babies. Now then, but they do prefer it if you go onto the website as well, okay? And, you know, they do... you know, lots of different things, okay? I mean, the tickets are run out now for, where is it now? I forgot where it is. Is it York or something? Anyway, but you can still watch the stream or something. You know, but there's all different sorts of videos, information, articles. Very interesting, okay? Very, very interesting. I happen to love UK column. With anybody, like I said, not in that way, okay? But I personally happen to love them, okay? And I love, there we are, the information that they give out, just like our lovely, not in that way, our lovely David Ark and his dear sons, Gareth, Jamie, and their dear friend Richard, okay? I just really enjoy, there we are, listening to all of these videos, my delicious little babies, and I have a high respect, there we are, for anybody who does a lot of research, okay, my delicious little babies. I mean, you know, where would some be without them? Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? Because it takes a lot of hard work to do this, okay, my delicious little babies, you know, for them to do all of that research. And then, you know, there are some in the world, I mean, there are lots of lovely mankind, but you do get some mothers do have them, you know, and they say, oh, you this or you that or you do, you know what I mean? But they haven't, these little trolls, you know, they haven't done the research, have they, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? They should just shut the traps and flip and wind the necks in, you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, anyway, because I'm not a liking that, you know, when they treat who I happen to enjoy listening to like that, my delicious little babies. No, I do not. I do not like that at all. I'm not a liking. Anyway, this video should read, my delicious little babies, and our lovely UK column news is now up to 19.1 thousand subscribers. It's lovely to see all the numbers rising, you know. And it should read, this is the latest video, my delicious little babies, tyranny with a smiley face, understanding communitarism. Gosh, I feel like I've flipping swallowed a dictionary today, my delicious little babies. Can now this is nearly an hour and 10 minutes long, and it is so vitally important, my delicious little babies, can to please take a listen to this video, my delicious little babies, can. And the dear man who dear Sandy talks to, bless him, okay, he's an extremely knowledgeable dear man, okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, so that's all ticked off so far. Now let's go back over here. So, right, okay, so we've got here, this is this one here, and by the way, this never came up on my feed. I was actually looking for other videos. In the old space by my delicious little babies, capital S, soul, space, capital A, alchemy. That's the uploader, my delicious little babies. This uploader happens to have 178,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies, can. And the video should read, and it's only, I think, what's this now? Is it about 20 minutes long or something? I think it's just over 20 minutes long. It's not a long video. Band interview. Seth reveals exactly what happens before birth. Okay, my delicious babies. And I'm going to tell you something now. There we are, for even say, I forgot all about this, okay, because I've seen this years ago. and it's to do with this like a spirit who comes through this dear woman's dear husband, not in that way, not in that way. And, you know, Seth explains all of, there we are, the process. Okay, my delicious little baby's cat. I'm still not too sure about just a little part what I've heard over the years, my delicious little babies, that that ones choose their mummies and daddies. I don't know. The only reason why I say that is because, say, if you've got, say, very violent mummies or daddies, or ones where, you know, they've got to, you know, I'm sorry to have to say it, I do not mean it in a nasty way, but mental illness, okay? Why a little baby, you know, like being a little twinkle in the eye, would want to come into the world with mummies and dads. That's my only, that I'm not in agreement with my delicious little babies, okay? Because I just do not understand it. That part, I really just do not get it. Do you know what I mean? And then, because you've heard over the years with videos, you know, they say, oh, you know, it's all about, you know, I don't know, it's all about life lessons and whatever else it is. But no, I'm not, that part I'm not buying. Okay, my delicious little babies. But this is a lovely, lovely video to listen to, my delicious little babies, well worth a listen. Now, 2 more left. So, yeah, this is really interesting as well, my delicious little babies. Now, this did not come up on my feed either. I was looking at other videos, but anyway, so I never got much further then, because what happened is that this one came up, so I thought, right, I'm going to listen, I'm going to write you down. And this upload happens to have 823 subscribers, my delicious little babies. Very interesting, important video as well, my delicious little babies. And it is called, this is all together, my delicious little babies, jammed together, capital H in the old space bar, hidden, then a capital R, rabbit, and then a number 3. So it's not the lettering 3, it's a number 3. So hidden, rabbit, 3, all together, jammed together, my delicious little babies. Okay? This video should read, ancient bells of Tartaria, the confiscation of 1914. Okay, my delicious little baby, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, okay? Ancient bells of Tartaria, the confiscation of 1914. Yes, okay? And this video is talking about, is it just before, is it World War One? Okay, my delicious little babies, and I'm pretty sure it is, and because I've listened so much this morning, my delicious little babies, and what they're saying is that they were asked, you know, to do with all the bells and everything, my delicious little babies, all different places, Italy, everywhere, okay, that they wanted the bells from the churches, my delicious little babies, okay, so it's for metal, you know what I mean, like for the war and, you know, and for everything else, okay. Very interesting little video. It's only about, is it about 20 odd minutes long, so it's not long, my delicious little babies, okay. And what it also talks about is that once the bells were removed, it's like it affected mankind. Well, I totally get that, because for myself, I've always loved, there we are, to listen to the church bells ringing. I may not be a churchgoer or anything, my delicious little babies, okay, because like I've said so many times, I believe in my own dear giddy God within, you know what I mean? I am my own saviour. However, I do believe that we all have a creator. There we are, I do believe that, okay, my delicious little babies, but no, I'm certainly not one for, you know, church going, my delicious little babies. And that's not being nasty about anybody else who has different religions or different views, okay? I'm just speaking for myself, okay, my delicious little babies. But yes, there is something very beautiful about church bells ringing, okay, my delicious little babies. And this is where we go back to, it's like inside the church, it's like there's a different frequency, okay? But of course, over time, others have been, let's just say, wanting to destroy. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Anyway, it's very interesting to listen to this video as well, my delicious little babies. So we must also remember as well is that we have been allowed to to do with, I would say, a lot of history anyway. There we are, my delicious little babies, okay? So it's important to, all I'm doing is giving out videos now, whether every single thing is true, all I'm doing is, it's just food for thought. There we are, when I give out information, my delicious little babies, and what I feel is worth taking a listen to. Because I'm interested in these type of videos, okay, my delicious little babies, okay? But yeah, they skanked there we are, yeah, shoulder just gone up, they skanked everybody again, my delicious little babies, do you see what I'm saying, okay? It's just a case of, the way I can see it, is just removing the church bells, okay, my delicious little babies, and, it's clearly for, there we are, an important reason, okay, my delicious little baby to them. Okay, my delicious little babies, now finally, this is on YouTube, my delicious little babies. Now then, this one never came up on my feed either, my delicious little babies. So again, when I'm looking for other videos, this uploader happens to have 11.3 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, and it is called capital R in the older search engine, spacebar, my delicious little babies, sorry, Rising space Tard space Foundation. Okay, my delicious little babies, that's the uploader. Rising Tard Foundation. Okay, my delicious little babies. And the video should read Beyond Geopolitics, EP 3, meaning episode 3, How Not to Fall for Gang Stroke Counter Psyops, featuring F, full stop, means featuring Mike Robinson, from our lovely UK column. Oh, our dear lovely Mike, bless him, not in that way, not in that way. He's having a conversation. Now, why have I wrote this down? Well, number one, because, Mark is, himself, and, Brian Gerrish, dear Brian Gerrish, bless them all, okay? They all work together, as a team, bless their dear little hearts. And not only that, but yes, Beyond Geopolitics, a very interesting, that title, okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Because it's like, if you look at it, I mean, I'm only about a quarter of the way into this video, my delicious little babies, but well worth a listen. It's just over an hour long, okay, my delicious little babies. And it's well worth listening to, but if you look at it, we just get flipping pulled into everything, my delicious little babies. Now, as I haven't heard the rest of it, okay, I got up to the part of, they're talking about Charlie Kirk, in Born in the USA, okay, my delicious little babies. But anyway, I'm not going to speak no more about that, because for myself, that is just, and I'm going to close my book. We need to go back to where we need to go back to, my delicious little babies. That's all the videos. So there's rather a lot today, my delicious little babies. But no, I'm not going to cover that anymore, because at the end of the day, my delicious little babies, fact of the matter is that it's just another, there we are, distraction. Okay, my delicious babies. Now, others may disagree with myself. Well, everybody's entitled to the view. I'm a woman with a view. I shall have my effing view, do you see what I mean? And that's my view. Okay, because while everybody was concentrating on that, there we are, they were doing other things now. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? And that's why I'm saying we've got to really, there we are, stay on the ball here. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Because it seems to myself that we've got to have ours, up our backside. Okay, my delicious little babies, to what is going on, okay? But yeah, and as regards to the signatures, and especially if you're reading the comments, on different videos and everything, okay, you've got an awful lot to really against this digital ID, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay. Now, finally, you see, there is a woman, and it's on the Charlie Ward, WARD show. Okay, my delicious little babies on Rumble. Okay, my delicious little babies, or he has his own website as well, bless him. And I hope that dear Charlie and his dear little family are all well, and I hope that dear Charlie's feeling better, not in that way with him, but I think they're up to 208,000 subscribers on Rumble. Okay, my delicious little babies. So anyway, on one of those videos, It's only about 30 minutes, and it's Paul, Brooker, never needed to stumble it. And he talks, bless, to this elderly woman. And this is all to do in her neck of the woods, bless her. You'd have to keep scrolling down until you found it, My Delicious Little Baby's Car. And it's to do with the fact that the water board, I think they took her to court 3 or 4 times, My Delicious Little Baby as well. The point here is that, and she did win the case. There we are. So she did win it. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies. Now, what my issue is that I feel, okay, My Delicious Little Babies, is that nobody should have to pay for water. And furthermore, nobody should have to pay for water that is contaminated, My Delicious Little Babies, okay, with nasties in it that that ones should not be even drinking, consuming. Do you understand what I mean, My Delicious Little Babies, okay? But again, this is a similar thing now to the council tax, My Delicious Little Babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so who is that signature? Because we do not see who is behind the signature. Do we, My Delicious Little Babies? Okay, they just bang all these letters out to everybody. And of course, you know, our names, you know, like Miss, Ms, Mr, you know, all in capitals, My Delicious Little Babies, okay? Which I do not believe that I was named a Miss and my name, My Delicious Little Babies. I was named my name. Do you see what I mean? My Delicious Little Babies, anyway. So I've been going through that with the council tax. They haven't done anything else as yet, okay? But I also have an issue paying my water as well, My Delicious Little Babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay. Anyway, they wanted to make some sort of offer that they'll knock what was it, 700 or 800 ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching off. Okay, and that I would only need to pay 218 squids, My Delicious Little Babies. Well, what am I paying 218 squids for? For water with fluoride in it and everything, My Delicious Little Babies. That's all I'm saying, really. Okay. Anyway, so then what happened was I tried to put the bill onto my beautiful eldest daughter, My Delicious Little Babies. So what she said is, she said, "Well, Mum," she said, "leave it with me." She said, because you know, she'll be taking there we are, legal action. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies. Okay, because what she's saying is, now this is how nasty and sneaky they are. Now, we all know in our old England that this credit score, there we are, has been here a very long time, okay? There we are. And it reminded me of something, okay, My Delicious Little Babies. Well, basically, for a start off, my daughter wasn't even here. She was in university. Okay, which you know, she's already been having some form of correspondence. Okay, My Delicious Little Babies. So what they then decide to do is put that against her credit score, My Delicious Little Babies. Okay, in other words, you know, her credit score's lower when it shouldn't be, because she pays every bill. There we are. She pays everything, My Delicious Little Babies, anyway, so she's not happy about it. I do not blame her, but they shouldn't put the bill onto somebody else. Now, I'm pretty sure for anybody who gets to listen to my videos, My Delicious Little Babies, which these days is not many, I'm sure that everybody would have heard of somebody else that this happens to, My Delicious Little Babies, okay? But we've had fluoride in our water, My Delicious Little Babies, for since 1964 in our Brummyland in England, My Delicious Little Babies, and in Hull, My Delicious Little Babies, where I spent a lot of time growing up there. Bless my beautiful dear little nanny and granddad, how I love them so. Okay. Yeah, and they had it really terrible. I mean, it stained everything, and it's doing the same here, My Delicious Little Babies. You know, it's really hard to get to, you know. So when they're turning around and saying that they're cleaning the water, I mean, it wasn't so long ago, My Delicious Little Babies, that we had brown water and yellow water coming out the tap. So why should everybody have to pay for that, My Delicious Little Babies? Do you know what I mean? So I thought, well, a simple solution, just don't pay for it. And you see, the thing is, when you, the way that I've always known it If you start corresponding with them, that means that you're contracting with them. My delicious little babies, do you see what I mean? And this is why, as sneaky lower than a snake's belly that they are, and you cannot get any lower than that, that's why they were putting in water meters. Well, you see, that means that ones have to be careful, there we are, of what water they're using, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So anybody who's had a water meter, well, I'm sorry, but I really just do not think that they did their research into it, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? And that's not being nasty. It's because they're only told one way. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So I'll wait and hear what's going to be said. But I said to my beautiful daughter, I said, there's no way ever, I said, that I would ever do that, so that you would have a lower credit score, because I'd never do that, my delicious little babies, and anybody who knows me knows that I'd never do it, But if we look at it, that is, there we are, illegal. Do you know what I mean? So they're trying to put the bill onto somebody else. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So we shall see what's going to happen now. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? But yeah, this is the way that they do things now. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? But no, why should we have to pay? And ones are probably just say to myself, oh, whoever would listen, oh, she doesn't want to pay for anything. Well, why should we have to? Because when we come onto this earth, on our planet, we were given full and plenty. We were given water, beautiful wells, beautiful everything, okay, beautiful streams. We were given everything. We were given full and plenty, berries and vegetables and all sorts of delicious things, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? Until others started tampering. So why are they charging us? Can you see what I'm saying, my delicious little babies? This is what has really peed me off, my delicious little babies. There we are, for a very long time. Why should we have to pay to drink water to keep ourselves alive? Why should we have to pay food to keep ourselves alive? When the ones that are charging us, my delicious little babies, are not paying a damn penny for nothing. This is damn rank. It's disgusting, man. So as far as I'm concerned, no. I'm not paying my water. And I haven't paid it for rather a long time now, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? But I feel that, there we are, they may very well come unstuck with my beautiful eldest daughter. There we are, my beautiful eldest daughter, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying, okay? So that's that, my delicious little babies. But no, I've got no problem, my delicious little babies, paying for something if I feel, okay, you're contributing, there we are, to society or something like this. What I do have a problem with is paying for water that's not clean, that they're still putting chemicals and everything else into our water, knowing full well that ones are going to drink the water or bath in the water or shower in the water, my delicious little babies, okay, plus our beautiful little babies who we call our sons and daughters, okay, so that is a form, there we are, of poisoning. So why should everybody pay to be poisoned, my delicious little babies? Do you see what I mean? That's my issue. I'm not shouting at you, my delicious little babies. That is the point I'm making. Just like the council tax, go on to Article 61 on DuckDuckGo, and then you'll see, well, I have not asked to participate in bombing other countries and using the ka-ching for weapons. I have not asked to participate with that, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean, okay? So, no, to myself, this is a principle, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean, okay? Okay, fair enough. If you have a car, brum, you got your wheels, you've got to pay for gas and diesel, gas and, what do they call it? Diesel and petrol, sorry, my delicious little babies, okay? And anyway, we shouldn't even have to pay for that either. And in our old England, we've got plenty of, oil, okay, my delicious little babies. So why is everybody why are they paying other countries? You know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, we shouldn't have to pay for nothing. And I do not feel that I'm wrong in saying it. I've got nothing across my shoulders, so that's telling me no. We should not be paying for any of this, my delicious little babies, okay? So with this digital ID now, there we are. It's like a little snowball, isn't it? So it starts off small. It's going to roll and roll and roll and roll. Do you see what I mean? Then more and more, bless them, who are not aware of everything wrong, then they'll start digging deeper, to do with information and everything. Okay, mad, delicious babies can. And, hopefully if others can also do their research, mad, delicious little babies. Why should we feed these companies who are making billions? I mean, we've got electricity below our feet. Mad, delicious little babies. Okay, there's plenty of videos on this. Okay, mad, delicious little babies. Okay, the energy is just unreal. It's beautiful. But then they charge us for that. Mad, delicious little babies. Okay, so if you don't pay, then basically you're going to get diggly squat, aren't you? Do you understand what I mean? Because you won't have any electricity and you won't have any gas. Really, this is like, I'm not going to use the word, anyway, having something held to your head. Mad, delicious little babies, that we must all live like this and be enslaved. No, this is totally, totally wrong. There we are. It is totally, totally wrong, mad, delicious little babies, you know what I mean? We shouldn't have to, nobody has asked. If we've got clean water and everybody's contributing, nobody has an issue, but it's not. And I certainly object to flipping paying for weapons and bombs, and drones and all these other things now to destroy other countries. I totally disagree with it and I will not pay it. End of. I haven't been paying it for a long time. And the same with my water. Now, if it was on a meter, okay, my delicious little babies, okay? But the thing is, because you're in a road, okay? So if they switch the water off one, they're going to have to switch the water off. There we are with everybody, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? So it's not that, I'm not paying for things. What my argument in it all is, why should I pay for dirty water? I mean, for myself, I have to go out to go and buy flipping bottled water. And then we got the plastic. See, what I'm saying is, there's no getting away from it. So the fact of the matter is, let's look at this, ding, ding, dong, dong, from a common sense point of view. So not only are ones paying for the water at home, but then because the water's not clean, they're then going out buying bottles of water. So you're paying twice, aren't you? There we are. You're paying twice, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? So how does that work? They're laughing at us, man. Do you know what I mean? They're laughing in our birth races. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? And I remember there used to be another man, oh gosh, when I looked at TikTok when I was doing readings on there for a very short time, my delicious little babies, and he was dealing with the water board as well. I cannot remember his name now, but he was having a lot of, backwards and forwards to do with the water board, my delicious little babies. But if enough said no, there we are. That's all it takes. Just say no, okay? But they're already trying to make everything scarce now anyway. My delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Look what they're doing to the poor farmers, for the majority of them. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? And others are just given up, bless them, and they're, just packed in the farming. And you're talking generations of farmers. Can you see what they're doing? It's totally, there we are, destroying everything, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Just to flipping, to control us. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? And it pees me off when I'm walking around and there's cameras here and cameras there, cameras effing everywhere. That's peeing me off as well, my delicious little babies. You know what I mean? It's like you're constantly, there we are, surveilled. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? That's my issues. So I'm not shouting at you, my delicious little babies, but no. Something can be justified, fair enough. But dirty water out your tap, no. Then having to go and buy water to drink, no. No, my delicious little babies, I'm very thankful for water. Of course I am. But, not at the expense, with our health and everything like this now, what they're doing to us, and then charging 300 or 400, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And this is out of each, there we are, household. And with the council tax, that comes under different bands of, I don't know, A, B, C, D, whatever it flipping damn well is. Do you know what I mean? So some pay lower, there we are, and some pay higher. You know what I mean? Mad delicious little babies, okay? And if you work for the poxy putrid government, well, you probably don't pay really anything at all, mad delicious little babies. How does that work? So this is all my issues, mad delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean, okay? So that's all I've got to say. But thank you so very much for listening. How I love you all so, okay? It's not just myself moaning. No, it isn't. It's just that why should we have to live like this? This is, if you look at it, it's not living, is it? It's just existing, because that's what they want you to do. You know what I mean? Just to shushy, keep your trap shut, don't say anything, continue to be enslaved, and say thank you for it. Well, no, I'm not thankful for it. And I worked plenty, there we are, of years in my life, there we are, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? No, I'm not thankful that you're being enslaved, that, a whole month's wage, and at least 60-70% of it goes on flipping poxy bills and flipping food and everything. And of course, the food is not showing any sign of coming down. There is just absolutely no excuse for this at all, okay? We are robbed. Left, right, there we are, and damn well centre. We are being robbed. Every which way. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? And this has got to stop. This has got to stop. It must stop. There we are, okay? Because it is destroying. It's destroying mankind. It's destroying families. It's destroying farms. It's destroying everything, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Just so that they can flipping gain, there we are, this full control of us. So, it's like a book, isn't it? I always say there's a beginning, there's a middle, there we are, and there's surely going to be an effing end. You know what I mean? And the way it's going at the moment, well, it just seems to myself that it's getting to the point, there we are, where they just cannot take any more. That's why you've got over 2.5 million with the digital ID signatures against the digital ID. No, because we don't want another China. No, we do not. You know what I mean? And plus the fact now, you got more and more, okay? I spoke to somebody, when was it, the other day, and they were saying that they knew somebody from China, and that they've had a conversation, like on the dog and burn. And yeah, it's there we are. It's very bad over there, my delicious little babies, for this social credit system. There we are. Oh, yes, it is. Well, of course, they were used, as a starting point, weren't they? So it can go in the rest of the world, my delicious little babies. But no, we do not want, not at all, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But I'm super duper pleased at how many signatures. There we are. Yes, I am. Because this is putrid, what our governments are doing to us, my delicious little babies. And of course, other countries have already, more ahead than what we are, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? It's very serious indeed what's going on. I keep saying this. This is why my videos do not get out, my delicious little babies. This is exactly the reason why. You know what I mean? Because if you say something, you're not supposed to say. You know what I mean? It's like, zip it. You know what I mean? No. Because there we are, because what I see is wrong. There we are, it is wrong. There we are, totally. And anybody who's on a super duper low wage, come on. It's like, you've either got to pay a bill, or you've got to get heating, or you've got to eat. So this is how they lock you in. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? They're wicked and putrid. Yes, they are. And I will continue, there we are, I will continue to say this. Oh, yes, I will. Okay, my delicious little babies. So wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. So until my next video, thank you once again for listening, okay? I'm sorry if you feel that I'm moaning, but I'm not sorry for what I'm saying. And if more and more and more, there we are, did the same, okay, where could I go with this? It's like, I said before, to do with, supermarkets and everything, okay, because this is what they do. They put the prices up and up and up. But if ones were not really shopping as much at supermarkets, or say if one's never bought the fizzy, curler and all of that, my delicious little babies, okay? Well, if nobody bought it, they'll be bankrupt in a few days. There we are, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? That's all that this is about. You see what I mean? And of course, with the supermarkets, that the farmers, they only get paid so much, you know, and it's usually never enough for them. Do you understand what I mean? Because they want everything. Do you see what I mean? Mad Delicious Little Babies case is very serious. What they've been doing, there we are, Mad Delicious Little Babies. But that one with the UK column news, with our lovely dear Sandy and their dear guest there now, okay? It's very important to please listen, okay? Because what they're trying to do is speed it along. Okay, Mad Delicious Little Babies, okay? But anyway, I do not feel that their plan is completely going to plan. Okay, Mad Delicious Little Babies, although they do want to put it out. There we are, that way, Mad Delicious Little Babies. But I do not feel it's all going as hunky-dory tickety-boo as what they initially thought. Mad Delicious Little Babies, okay? So until my next video, once again, how I love you all, okay? You just take care now. Please look after yourselves and please try to take care of others. So until my next video, take care. Thank you for listening. Once again, goodbye.